So here are the answers to the using persuasive language work that you've done this week. Lots of you didn't do this first activity, matched the technique with its definition, and you assumed that I put these in the right order for you, and I didn't do that, and this has made some of your work very difficult to understand. So let's quickly work through these answers and then we'll look at some techniques and examples. So a question to make the reader engage with the text is a rhetorical question. Repetition of the initial sounds of words is alliteration, and a comparison using like or as is a simile. Section 2, a phrase which means more than its individual words is an idiom. A quote from a person is direct speech, where we're going to use speech marks to show that someone's saying something. And a command is an imperative. We looked at these when we were doing instructive texts. Finally then, for section 3, a group of 3 words used for emphasis is rule of 3. Use of the word you is direct appeal. We're talking directly to the reader when we use this technique. And finally, exclamation is a sudden response, often a single word. So let's look at the next section. This time then we are trying to match the techniques with the example. So if we look at the example here, everyone enjoys eggs. What do we notice about that? We've got repetition of the eh sound at the beginning. So this one is an example of alliteration. The second one, cool as a cucumber. We said that a simile is comparison using like or as, and we've got as here. So this one then is our simile. And finally, are you brave enough is a rhetorical question. For number 5, we can see that we've got speech marks here, and somebody is saying, I can't stop recommending this to my friends. So this one is direct speech. This one, he's burying his head in the sand again. So we said that idioms mean something different to their individual words. And when we say someone's burying their head in the sand, we don't mean that they're actually doing it. We mean that they're hiding from a problem. So this one is our example of an idiom. And then finally, stay alert, protect the NHS and save lives. This is an example of an imperative. The imperatives that we've got here are stay, protect, and save. We're being told to do these things, aren't we? So for number 6, only you can save us. We said that direct appeal is talking directly to the reader, and we've used the word you here. So this one is direct appeal. Again, we've got stay alert, protect the NHS, save lives. This one is, as well as being an imperative, we've used the same structure 3 times, so we've used 3 imperatives. So this one is rule of 3. And finally, we've got amazing with an exclamation mark. So this one is the exclamation. Finally then, I asked you to write some examples of each technique based upon some scenarios. Number 1, you're writing a speech about the benefits of volunteering. What examples of persuasive techniques might you use? So for alliteration, you might say something like volunteers are vital, where we've got the repetition of the V sound at the beginning of volunteers and vital. For the rhetorical question, you might try and make somebody feel a bit guilty by saying something like, can you make a difference? And then for a simile, we need to make some sort of comparison. So we might say, your help is like gold to us. For number 2 then, you're writing an advert to persuade someone to buy a new car. What persuasive techniques might you use? So for direct speech, we want somebody saying something positive about either new cars or a garage. So you might say something like, I couldn't live without my new car. For imperatives, we want to give someone an instruction, a command, telling them to do something. So we might say something like, drive away in a new car today. As well as the imperative drive, we've got a bit of a rhyme in there with away and today too. And then the idiom, lots of you did some research on this and it was good to see some really good examples. We might encourage people to make a decision by saying something a bit car related, like put the pedal to the metal. There were lots of good examples for this one. I was really impressed. Finally then, you're writing a review about a bad experience you had with a fast food chain. What examples of persuasive techniques might you use? So for direct appeal, we need to use the word you or your. So I've chosen you will regret eating here. For rule of 3, we need to repeat some sort of phrase or structure 3 times. So I'm going to do it really simply and repeat 3 adjectives to describe the food. So we might say the food was soggy, stale, and slimy. So we've got soggy, stale, and slimy as our rule of 3, and then we've also used a bit of alliteration there with the S sounds. And finally, an exclamation, something that's going to discourage people from going to this fast food chain. We might say something like revolting. So what I want you to do is have a look back over your work, check it, particularly those 2 sections at the beginning, to make sure that you have identified that you've matched the techniques and the definitions right at the beginning. Lots of people struggled with that bit or didn't notice to do it.